Welcome back to How to Cake It. This week is all about My Little Pony. Can you tell? I always put her hair between the legs like this, right? Because then she's different than the other ponies. I decided to hire a minion to help me. They're all the rage. They're supposed to be really hardworking. So I thought I need some help caking in this kitchen. So I hired a minion. His name is Bob. And he wasn't that helpful. I am making a My Little Pony, and I've chosen to make Miss Rainbow Dash. She's all about the ombre. She did ombre before it was in style and all over Instagram. I'm gonna make Rainbow Dash by carving delicious vanilla cake, filling it with fun rainbow buttercream, and then adding bits of cake here and there to make her look more three-dimensional. And then I'm gonna cover her in her sassy blue fondant and add her hair in all the right places. And don't forget her butt tattoo. I don't think I would get any tattoo on my butt, but if I did, it probably wouldn't be a cloud with a lightning bolt. I think I would just get like the word butt. Sorry, I like to label things. To make this cake, I baked two 12 by 15 inch vanilla cakes and two 9-inch round vanilla cakes. I removed them from their pans once cooled, and then I began to level them. While I was leveling, I couldn't find my ruler, which is an essential part of leveling. And Bob's just standing there like, he has no idea where it is. Even though it's behind his back. If you want to make my vanilla cake, and if you want to learn to level like I do, there are links below to help you. Before I begin to carve my cakes, I need a template, and I've made myself one using Excel on my computer. I just blew up a really nice picture of Rainbow Dash that I found, and I blew her up to be about 21 inches high by 15 inches wide, minus her tail. I have to carve this cake in sections because she's big. So what I do is I start with one of my rectangle cakes and I lay the bottom half of my template on top of that. So this will cover her torso and her legs. I gently carve around the template, cutting out that shape, and I repeat the same process on the other rectangle cake, cutting out the exact same shape. And the top half, which is her head, is going to be the two round 9-inch cakes stacked together. Not only does your cake have to be cool before you start to carve, but I actually like to chill them to make sure that they are cold. The more room temperature they are, the more they will crumble as you're carving. So if they're nice and cold, that should eliminate that. My cakes are carved, but before filling them, there's one other step to help make this cake look a little more three-dimensional. I'm actually gonna cut off the two middle legs from both of the body-shaped cakes. If you look at the pony picture, two of her legs are in the forefront, and we want to keep that look so that she looks in action, you know? She's trotting along. I'm gonna set aside my two extra legs, and that's gonna help me later on. Now that my cakes are carved, they are ready to be filled. And they have such a fun filling. Filling is magic. First, I need to color my buttercream. So I've made a batch of buttercream and divided it into 6 portions. And now I'm gonna color those portions yellow, orange, red, green, blue, and purple. I'm using Wilton's icing colors for all of my buttercream. It's a gel food coloring. It works really well. If you want to know the exact colors I used, you can just click below. Truth be told, I don't enjoy coloring buttercream because it's messy. I don't like mess. I actually got some yellow buttercream on my thumb when I was mixing yellow. So I asked Bob for a towel. Where was Bob? You have one job. Hand me a towel. You can't do that? Bob is nowhere to be found with my towel. And where do I find him? In the fridge, eating cake scraps. Now, a lot of you asked me what I do with my cake scraps, and in this case, I was gonna use them to help add on to pony, but Bob thought they were free reign, so he took them into the fridge to eat them. He prefers his cake chilled. That's what he told me. Bob is back. It's time for me to fill this My Little Pony cake with rainbow buttercream. I've put each color of buttercream into its own piping bag, fitted with a number 805 tip. Then I simple syrup my cake and I fill it with diagonal stripes of rainbow buttercream. I was trying to think about how she would look when she was cut open. That's kind of morbid, but that's what I was thinking about. And I piped the colors in order and just repeated the order over and over again until the whole pony was filled. Once my cake is filled, I place the second cakes on top in the exact same place. So line up the head, line up the body, do it really carefully, especially with the body. And then I chill my cake before carving, just so that the buttercream is nice and hard inside and I don't make a rainbow mess. Now that my cake is chilled, I'm going to carve it a little bit further. I'm gonna soften sort of the top edges, like into the legs, soften her face. I'm gonna add a bit of cake on her butt so that her tattoo can really stand out. And I'm also gonna add some cake on her ear. I have not had the pleasure of carving a butt cake. So this is my first experience. It's a pony butt. Now I need to crumb coat this cake in its entirety and give it a good chill. And I need to remember to crumb coat my other two legs, which we'll be adding later because I don't wanna make a two-legged pony. Bob was just standing there watching me. I feel like the third movie really got to him, right? Like now he's like, I'm Bob Minion, I'm the star, I'm one of the top 3 minions, I don't have to work. Just bugs me when people are like that. He's taken my rainbow buttercream filled piping bags and thrown a party. Still holding a towel, which he apparently has no idea how to use, and is now covered in purple buttercream. Am I supposed to think that's cute because you're so small or something? This minion is a hindrance to me. I am not his minion. He is my minion. I am not cleaning him up. I have an eye and butt tattoo to cut out right now. I don't have time for Bob. I'm not sure who designed Rainbow Dash, but she has a lot of eye colors. She doesn't have one eye color. She's not like me. She doesn't have brown eyes. She has, like, her eye color is like an ombre from burgundy to pink, and then there's some black and white in it. So I had to recreate all those colors. I roll my fondant as thinly as possible. I cut out each component of the eye and then stick it all together with a little bit of water, keeping my template next to me just as a reference until the eye is one complete beautiful, sparkling Rainbow Dash eye. I am a professional. I am a perfectionist. If there's 8 colors in the eye, I'm using all 8 colors. I'm gonna use the same method to make Rainbow Dash's butt tattoo. I've dyed some fondant yellow and red and blue, and then of course I have white, and I'm gonna cut out the little cloud and the little lightning bolts. It's time to cover Rainbow Dash in her gorgeous blue fondant. Bob is not a minion. Bob is just like an audience member. This is where the problem lies, because minions were made to serve villains, and I'm too sweet, so Bob did nothing for me. At this point, all the trouble Bob has caused me, he better be subscribed to How to Cake It. I've decided to cover her in pieces. I'm going to begin with her butt and her hind leg, really smooth it along her feet. She has no toes. Then I move on to her torso and front leg using the same technique, and then I finish off by covering her head. Try to be as quick as you can when doing this because you're using your hands. Your hands are warm. So if you touch the fondant too much, that's a really bad idea. And if you do feel like your hands are sticking to the fondant, you can take a little bit of icing sugar, rub it in your hands, and start again. Now I can't forget about her two other legs, so I cover those two separate legs in blue fondant as well to match and put them in the fridge to chill. And then I have a very special touch. I actually made her wing out of gum paste. I used the template and cut out the shape of her wing out of gum paste, and I let that dry for about 3 days. I cover my gum paste wing with the same blue fondant that the rest of the pony is covered in, and I just take a nice sharp knife and trim around it as cleanly as I can. This is just another thing I can do to really add to this cake, because you might be wondering why I just didn't carve out the wing out of cake, and that's because I thought it would look like a really fat wing. Using my sculpting tool, I create little creases and indentations where they would be, like along her butt, down into her leg, cute little nose, in her ear. Now it's time to assemble this pony and give her back her other two legs. I'm just gonna trim off a bit of the top of them and butt them right up against the cake so that now she has 4 legs and 2 of them are in the forefront and 2 of them are lower, so she looks good. So I'm gonna begin by adding her beautiful sparkling rainbow dash eye. I've never made a tattoo before, certainly not a butt tattoo. So I need to apply this tattoo to Rainbow Dash. Bob, I think, has a butt tattoo. I saw a little bit of his overalls fall down and I was like, what is that? It was like a tattoo of another minion. It's time to add Rainbow Dash's hair because her hair is everything. I actually think that's why Bob is not helping, because he's jealous. Because she has all this fabulous rainbow hair and he has nada. He's smooth like a baby's bottom. There's a lot of butt talk in this video. I've recreated all the colors of Rainbow Dash's hair using fondant. Some of it I dyed using Wilton icing colors and some of it I bought pre-made. For all of the colors and all of the fondant I used, you can check the description below. To recreate her hair, I've decided to roll out tubes of fondant. I'm gonna begin by adding her gorgeous bangs, which I'm so envious of. I had to get them done myself. Then I move on to her tail, which is very full and lustrous, and it has a lot. I need a lot of tubes of fondant for this. And I do one color at a time, and I just place it on the cake and layer it and layer it and layer it and layer it. I think Bob is so embarrassed about his baldness at this point that he has run off to hide. Again. I find Bob behind my mixer, which isn't even a good hiding spot because he's like bigger than my mixer. Try harder, Bob. You're not even good at hiding. I add the wing and then add a few more strands of hair, her mane, her gorgeous mane that whips around down by her wing. I have to style this hair just right because her hair always looks good. My Little Pony has become like this cult classic. People love My Little Pony. There is a whole convention dedicated to My Little Pony. Hi, BronyCon. BronyCon 2015. You look good. You look fierce. How do I look? Good. We're going out later. Now that I've spent all this time doing all this hard work to recreate this beautiful My Little Pony, I have to eat her. I decide to slice her hind leg. I hope she's gonna be okay. I'm just enjoying my slice of cake, but Bob's really putting a hamper on this. He's just sitting there, He doesn't want the piece I offered him. He's still a mess. Just to be clear, I hired a minion to help me make a My Little Pony cake. And now it's time to fire a minion. I'm not happy with our arrangement, Bob. You didn't complete any tasks given to you. You weren't helpful at all. You stood there with a silly look on your face, grinning at me. You hid from me, ate my cake scraps, hid in my oven, and on top of all that, the thing I can't forgive you for is you messed up my whole kitchen, including yourself, with colored buttercream. And that was the straw that broke the minion's back. You're fired. Come on, guys. You knew Bob was cake. They literally have cake for brains. That was the problem. How you feeling, Bob? Talk to me. Oh, he's still smiling. Bob, say goodbye to the good people.